have the settings here. This is where we will configure what database we're pointing to. We just hit settings, and then we have connection, employee username. This will show whoever is logged in at the moment, diagnostic info, and check for update. We're going to hit connection. Under connection URL, this is where we will point to the IP address of what database we're going to connect to. Once we type in the IP address, and with this being a warehouse handheld, it is using the FTx WH at the end of it. And we are using port 80 to connect. And we will just hit E. Once validated, we will hit the back button on the handheld. Now, in order to log in, we go to the bottom right and click on the red circle. Here, we will type in our warehouse username and password. And then we'll hit login. Once we log in, we have the different modules here. We have inventory, item check, purchasing, pick order, verify order, print button, and then of course our settings. We will begin with inventory. Inventory is basically going through and counting what you have in your warehouse. Once you hit inventory, you can see that it shows any inventory that has been started but yet has not been completed. We can select that, or we can start a new one. To start a new one, we will hit the red plus sign at the bottom. We will go and find the definition that we'd like to use. Then it asks us, do you want to proceed with test, which is the definition that I'm using. So I will tell it yes. So the screen now tells you there's no scan history, so we have yet to scan an item. Once we go in, we can actually scan an item, or in this case, I will type in the number. And I will hit serve. The entry comes up and tells me the item number, how many I show I should have on hand, and then I type in my actual quantity in the box here. And I will tell it to add. Now, as you can see, that item that was just scanned shows up on the screen. Down at the bottom right, we have the settings cog, and we have the options of always scan, which we have it as disabled. This basically is a setting to where if you had it enabled, you would have to scan each item every time instead of putting in the number of the quantity on hand. So if you had, say, 5 of an item, you would have to scan that item 5 times to get the 5 quantity entered into the system. The Rescan Prompt basically has the option of where when you scan, it gives you the option to append or replace. If we disable that, there is a setting to where it will have us choose which way we're going to do it every time. By default, I would leave this enabled. That way you have the option to do it either way. The next option we have here is the show count history. We have the option to show only the recent history, which this will only show you what you've scanned in your current session. So if this was selected and I was exit out of this count and go back into it, my item that I had previously scanned would not show up any longer. The next option is Show My Scan History, which will show only the items that you have scanned. The Show All Scan History is in case you have multiple people going through and scanning, you will see everybody scan. So therefore, if somebody has already scanned an item in one place, you'll see that it has been scanned. The last option there is Uncounted Item. If we select that, that shows you the rest of the items that are in that definition that has yet to be scanned. Once we've finished doing a account, we can just exit out of the inventory module. And if we go into warehouse, we can go over into inventories. And here is my account that is open that I just started and I finished. We do not finish it on the handheld. We would actually go into the inventory here. We can verify what was counted. And if everything is correct, we would come down here and hit save and reconcile to close it out. The next module that we have is Item Check. This is just that you are just going to scan an item to check the pricing, locations, and things like that for it. So if we go in and check our item, let me try that again. We'll try a different item here. We see it shows my item number, shows that I currently have 30 on hand, shows my description, my cost, my price, and also my location of the item in the warehouse. The next module is purchasing. If we go into purchasing, we will see all of our open warehouse purchase orders here. So when we go into purchasing, we can actually select we select one of the purchase orders, and it tells you there's nothing been added to this purchase yet. We hit our settings down at the bottom. Again, we have an unscanned item. That will show us what items are actually on this purchase order. If we were to actually type in that item number, it shows us that item and it asks us how many of those we are receiving in. So we will receive the 5 that we ordered. And we can exit out of purchasing, and we would finish this in the inventory module in warehouse. Now with purchasing also, we have the option to create a new purchase order. We can hit the red plus at the bottom. It'll ask you which vendor that we're going to use. And it'll ask us for an invoice number. and we'll tell it to create. Then we can just add items. It will tell us this item is not on the PO. Would you like to add it? We are going to tell it yes. Then we tell it how many that we're actually receiving in, and we'll add. And again, once we get finished scanning our items, we would go into the inventory under purchasing in warehouse. And we would finish it up, finish the receiving there. So save and apply. Okay, the next module we have is pick order. When we go into pick order, we will see all the open orders that we have. We will select one of the orders. This shows you the item that we have here. Again, the same options as before. We do have the uncounted items. That shows you our items that is yet to be invoiced. So with this, we would go scan the item. It tells us that the warehouse has 9 on hand, but this order was for 2. So we are going to pick our 2 and put in that as our invoice quantity, and then we will add that. Now, as you can see, there is a line now drawn through that item showing that it has been picked. Once we have everything completed here, we would just back out of it, and that order is now gone from our screen. It has been picked. That order is now ready to be shipped out to our customer. The last module is verify orders. This is an option in Warehouse where you can enable verifying orders, but not everybody uses this. Basically, what verifying an order is, it's very much like picking an order. You would have somebody separate that did not pick the order to go into verify order just to make sure that the correct amount was picked. They will verify it. Once it is verified, then it is ready for it to be shipped. That covers the warehouse handheld modules. As always, if you have any questions, we do have references on our website, documentation on warehouse, and we will have this webinar will be available for later viewing. And all of our past webinars are also available on the website. I hope you got some useful information out of this, and you have a good day.